Why, hello there. My name is Keith, and I am known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to talk to you all about whatever Jesus wants me to talk to you guys about, which is the two different kind of Christians in this world. Specifically the ones who read the Bible. We're going to talk about that in depth because, you know what? I gotta tell you guys, for the people who actually sat down to read the Bible, you can tell when someone has actually put their heart and soul into reading the Bible, because some of those stories are tough to read. Some of those stories suck to read. Some of them hurt to read. And then you have people who have never actually read the Bible, who watch other people go around and be posers and basically try to manipulate other people into joining them. And basically there's a kind of Christian out in this world, one who's an authentic speaker of God and one who's just basically doesn't care about God's will like that. They're doing what they think is right in their own eyes, which Judges talks about that. Israel, the time that, this is disturbing to say, but in the time that Israel saw that they could do good in their own eyes was one of the worst events in the entire Bible that happened. It was one of the most sick and disturbing events ever, which I might talk about. So basically, in a time where Israel, the 12 tribes, have basically, they stopped listening to God after a certain point, and it got really, this is in Judges, and before Judges, these are disturbing Bible, this basically, some of the parts in the Bible can get very, very tough to read. So before Moses died, he basically said, God told me that you guys are going to fall apart, and you're going to fall very far away from him, you'll make idols, you'll do everything. He did as much preparation as he possibly could, and they still did exactly that. It took one person, Micah, who his mother had a statue made out of the coins that she had, and the statue led thousands, almost like a good portion of the tribes, into idolatry, literally worshiping idols. That's what idolatry is. People are like, oh, you're on your phone and you're basically, you can make fear an idol, but they actually had an actual idol, literally statues. So they were mixing, you know what they were doing? What people are doing now. They were mixing their gods with the Most High God, even though God said, I am a jealous God and I will have no other God before me. And that one person ruined all those people. And you know what happened to them when they started mixing gods? Because other gods have different rules. For people who actually go down the route of following other gods, even the Aztec ones, what do you mean even the Aztec ones? Those are the ones like, give your children. There's literally a god of sacrifice and it likes babies. Like, well, it doesn't like those kind of babies. It's just like, it likes these kind of babies. It's like, and I don't see any people like that anymore, because most of the people who do that kind of stuff, God takes off the planet very fast. But the whole point is, there's two kind of Christians, and one kind of Christian knows the Bible down to a T, or they do their research and they understand, hey, this is some of the stuff that you can read in the Bible is just like, what the, and I keep a Bible in my pocket. I walk it like I talk it. Got the Bible in my pocket. I walk it like I talk it. So basically, I read it most places I go, and you can read the Bible once, you can read it twice, but you can miss a whole chunk of details, or you can mix something up. I have to say, I thought it was Micah who built the idol. It was his mom. And you can skip a detail so easily, so very easily. I read the book of Samson, book of Judges, and Samson's part over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it took me a second to realize that God kind of orchestrated him getting his eyes pulled out, or plucked out. And I'm like, it starts off, you think Samson's an innocent character in Judges, because I'm talking about Judges now, and he's not that innocent. Let's just say that he had anger problems. He took off. He didn't communicate. He was not a very good husband to his wives, and he did things without thinking. He did things without asking God, and that's why he ended up where he was at. He tested God too many times, and it's the strongest character in the Bible. And he fell to woman putting pressure on him. So he didn't set a good example, and he actually ended up embarrassing God. So when they had Samson's eyes plucked out and they made a fool of him, they mocked God. So that reflected directly upon the Most High God. So people read past the book of Samson. What's my point? Is that there are some people in this world who take some serious time into reading the Bible, and there are some people who are flat out posers. A poser. Most pastors are these posers. You can tell for someone who, when you start actually sitting down to read the Bible and you read it over and over and over and over and over and over again in certain parts, even if it's just one chapter, even if it's whatever chapter you're, because you have to read it in order. You don't have to read the whole Bible like that unless you're talking about those kind of chapters, unless you're going to start going into them like that. But yes, I'm keeping my eyes peeled. But you have to read the whole Bible. But if you're going to teach from that part of the Bible, you better read the whole part of the Bible, and you better know it like the back of your head, like the back of your hand. So get good at what you're reading versus before talking about it, versus you're hopping around this book to that book to this book. You know the books are all in order, right? Well, most of the books are in order. So sometimes they're a little tougher to read. Most of them are in order, chronological order. So you start at Genesis, you go to Exodus, but people go from Genesis to Matthew and they don't know what's going on because Genesis and Exodus connect. So when someone reads Exodus for the first time and they've never read Genesis, there's a whole background. Like literally everything connects. So even I see a whole bunch of pastors. I had a bunch of people message me. A whole bunch of people message me in the past week about it, saying, "Oh, I'm seeing this with pastors too. Is when you start reading the Bible, you're like, hey, I know this pastor did not read this part because they would not stop right there. They would not stop right there. They would not cut the story off like that because once you can't take pieces of the Bible and stitch them together because it's a story. It's like saying, well, Cinderella found her lost slipper, sandal, golf shoes, whatever. I know it's a slipper, I think. Golf shoes. I wonder why that's in my subconscious. I'm in a very, really wealthy area right now. Going north of me is even wealthier, which that's where we're heading very soon. But I still keep my eyes peeled. I don't care. It's Florida. This park's very safe, by the way. A lot of big angels around here. But basically, my point is that when you read the Bible like that, you don't have to look in the Bible like that to talk about it. You know it from your heart and soul. And there's a kind of Christian who, the other kind of Christian is the one who's learning, because it takes time to learn the Bible. It does take time. That's why you invest time in it, and God will invest time in you. Jesus Christ, the Most High God, asks for you to read the Bible because when you read the Bible, that becomes a part of you forever. That becomes a part of your subconscious mind. I've been teaching about the RAS, not REM, but REM too. But why have I been teaching about the RAS, by the way? You know, someone called me teaching science demonic because it's not in the Bible and it was unbiblical. Do you know what God did to that person's? It was more than one person. So it's literally an insult because God made science. And like, no, that's of the devil. God would not make that. That comes from the devil. That's a temptation. The same. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that, but basically, there's a certain portion of the world who, most people have not read the Bible, and that's okay. But once you start pretending to have read the Bible or whatever you're talking about from the Bible and you don't know what you're talking about, you might as well put a shoe in your mouth. Full-fledged put a shoe in your mouth and save yourself the trouble. Because there are people out here and you will embarrass God and God will flat out slap you. He'll slap you across your face. Spiritually. He'll do it physically. Sometimes you'll get a physical, like you'll get knocked out. You can get knocked out by God. When God's that mad at you, he can go. You guys have to know Jesus. And those kind of people don't even know that Jesus is God. So who is their God? So that's the thing. Now, talking about this more in depth, the Bible is something that takes time. I'll keep saying it. And for people who've actually read the Bible and keep reading, so there are some parts that you read it and you feel it could be when God's mad at people. It could be when some sick things happen, which I'll talk about the next part in Judges. So you go from a really cool story from Judges, talking about Samson, and then you go to the sickest part of one of the sickest parts of the Bible, and you can tell because you'll ask someone, oh, because they're talking about, oh, well, Judges says this. Judges says to put your shoe on this way. Like, well, it doesn't say that, but people will try to use it to get their own advantage, but they haven't read it because they'll know it's the whole story. So you'll ask the person, what does Judges mean? They'll be like, well, when God judges someone. Judges, he literally appoints judges, people that carry out his will. He'll judge them through the person, but people don't even say that. So he'll judge them through the judges, or he'll use the judges to accomplish his will, but people don't know what a judge is. You'd be like, well, that's a person in a courtroom. It's like, or that's when God judges. That's judges. Like they won't even know what a judge is in the Bible. They like, well, I don't have to know I got the definition right. A judge is a person in the courtroom, and this person does that kind of stuff. That's not what's happening. People haven't read the Bible. You ask someone what Leviticus means, they're like, well, it doesn't matter what it means. Well, you're trying to talk from the book of Leviticus. Do you know all the offerings that they offered from the book of Leviticus? Like, for real. You want to talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? So, a good portion of Christians will stay quiet and not speak from the Bible unless they 100% know it. But that's correct, because once you start talking crap, you are in trouble with God. He will literally put you to it. You cannot embarrass God. You can't misrepresent him, because he'll return you to him very fast. You'll go straight back to God as soon as you started making him look bad. And he has a reputation of doing that too. You start tarnishing the Lord's image, he'll fix you. He'll fix you nicely the first time. You don't get it. The second, third time is not so nice. You get to the fifth time, you're probably going to die. Fifth or seventh. There's a pattern in the Bible. 5 and 7 when God has to warn you that many times. And if you hit 9, you're screwed. Your whole generation's screwed. So even look at God is he is so patient, but when you keep testing God with a lack of knowledge, he loses patience, because it's not helping you for him to be patient. So in essence, before anyone teaches from the Bible, before anyone talks about the Bible, read the whole Bible. If you're just going to go to that story, read the whole story, know the order of where that story came from, know the characters in the story, know every little last thing that someone said, because once you start talking incorrectly, you are embarrassing yourself and you're embarrassing God. You're a bad representative. And that's the thing. Even if I say one thing incorrectly, Jesus will hold me accountable. I'm his speaker, and if I say one thing incorrectly, he'll have me go back and correct it, or he'll just tell me to not say it at all until I'm good at speaking it. Okay? So, for example, and the thing is, sometimes the way that Jesus teaches, for example, and how do I read the Bible? You know what? I'll teach a good method as to how you can read the Bible. How about you read the Bible with God? You literally speak with God. You say, Jesus Christ, the Most High God, can you read the Bible with me? Can you help correct me to make sure I'm not reading anything incorrectly? And Jesus will be like, absolutely. So you'll have a Bible study with God. You'll hear his voice. You want to know why? You want to know why online is so scared about people going into solitude, or basically going into quiet places? They call the world's quietest room, this is the most intense thing, the world's quietest room is an actual thing, and people say it drives them nuts, it scares them. It's because once they go into that room and they hear the voice of God, for better or for worse for them, if God's mad with them, he's gonna say it, and they're gonna hear God and be like, that can't be possible, and they go lose their minds. Versus the world's quietest room for a holy person it's like heaven. You hear God, and God says, my child, I am proud of you. You will be rewarded. You have so many good things coming your way. But the essence of this is, humans have to humble themselves. Stop doing stuff out of our own wills. What does God have to say about it? Before you do anything, did you ask God? So when you read the Bible, did you say to God, can I teach this? And people are impatient. Oh, God said, yeah. Give God some time to respond. Sometimes he won't answer right away. He'll be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Or, nah. So God will go quiet. And that's the thing, people. I've had people talk to me and say, I can't believe God has made me wait. That's why you're waiting longer. You know, when you wait patiently and you're good at waiting, do you know what happens? You receive first. So why don't you just wait before you, for example, and that's the thing. People don't know what zealous, there we go. I don't know how to say the word, but people don't know what zealous is. People want to be bigots, and people want to put other people down. That's not what Jesus taught. That's not how Jesus acted. He was very loving when he was here in the flesh. He's coming back in the flesh very soon, and you better believe it. I haven't seen those people in heaven. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have not seen those people in heaven who put people down. Those people go straight somewhere else, or God has something different for them. Because there's 7 levels of hell. So people, I can't say what God does with those people. I don't see them in heaven at all. There's a reason heaven's empty. So for people and how do you move people closer to God? You ask God. You literally ask God. If you turn into a predator hunting people out, then you will be prey to God. So that's a thing. You ask God. And you literally, I remember when I was a kid, I didn't fully ask God. I said, God, I'd like to help someone. Because I found out, at that time when I was young, I'm like, I found out about the laws of giving and receiving. I'm like, and when I was a kid, I did very well. I had hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to give away to homeless people. So I drove around town. I could not find any homeless people. I didn't ask God like that, but I was young. So, I mean, the people I had handed hundreds to, the homeless people, they'd run away. I'm like, what the? And like one lady, I drove around. I'm like, here, and she was like, she barely took it. She almost dropped it. I'm like, what the? This doesn't make any sense. It's because that wasn't on God's terms. Yeah, it helped them, but it wasn't His timing. It wasn't His terms. And I learned that lesson. I said, like, basically, I said, God, if you require anyone who needs help, please let them approach me. And I literally walked into people who needed help. I say, please stop me from stopping people who shouldn't be helped. For example, He stopped me from helping someone who steals and from someone who attacks people. Because if I gave them something, let's just say that person would have used it to hurt someone else. That person actually got arrested shortly after, like within 30 minutes of me almost giving financial abundance. Let's just say that. Don't want to talk about that. It was disturbing. All I heard is the Lord say, thou shalt not steal. And He started saying commandments. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's the thing. You have to ask God first. So if you'd like to help other people, you wait on God's terms. You don't say to yourself, I'm going to go out into the world today and I'm going to do whatever. I think this will make God happy. How about you ask God what makes God happy? So God will show you what's in His will, but He'll make you wait. He can make you wait 10 years before you do that. And He'll have you going through things. So like I said, there's two kinds of Christians. There's one who reads the Bible and they understand, hey, this takes some serious time. And the other type of Christian is the Christian who just does whatever's on their terms and teaches the Bible how they want to teach it versus how God wants it taught. Ask God, because He'll literally tell you. You might have to wait, but He'll literally tell you. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. God bless all of you. Ciao.